In and Out with me, Professor Yalman, from the TEDU radio studios at TED University. This is to reach out to those who have questions and want desperate answers. Why me? Because I've seen it all. I've seen it all in different aspects. I have been up, down, I was fired, I was hired, I was poor, I was rich. I fell in love, I lost my love, I became a kite surfer, I became a writer, I became a poet, I became a musician. I never stopped trying. At the end of the day, I never stopped trying. I never lost my hope. There was always a pinnacle in my life where the answers to those questions came. And if those answers are not coming by themselves, here's your chance to ask us. Ask us and I will answer them. As I say, life can get even or you can get a 7. So a 7 you can get much easier, not just believing in luck, but being persistently pursuing your path, which is your authentic path. Ask the questions. In and Out with Professor Yalman every week on Thursday with you. In and Out with Professor Yalman from Radio TEDU studios here in TED University, Ankara. Yesterday, actually, if it's going to be, I don't know when this is going to be aired, but on the 13th of February, we had the Global Radio Day, and there was a great event organized by Radio TEDU, and that will be aired on Spotify as well. Make a note of it and follow that. So I am giving, on behalf of Radio TEDU, a small advertisement for there, and I appreciate their efforts. It was a great day, a lot of nice guests and a lot of frequency and a lot of nice ideas about actually making a program on radio and the difference the radio and the sound makes in our lives. Today I have a new guest. What is your name?
My name is Emre.
Emre, what are you studying, Emre?
I am in computer engineering.
A computer engineering student, final year?
Yes, final
Senior year, yes, okay. And I have announced this program in class, and he was brave enough to come to this program because I said in class, if you want me to remember your name, there's no better way to ask me questions. Emre, okay, go on. Ask me questions.
First, I just want to ask that in the lesson, you said all of us that you will get an A right now because I give it unconditionally. But for just content, I just want to know, do you really think that there's unconditional anything in life? Because I don't believe unconditional thinking.
That's a good question. But the thing is, I didn't say unconditional actually. But yes, my system of teaching, Emre, is I start my classes with an A. Okay? So every student who comes to my class at the first class of that semester gets an A. But the way to keep that A is I do a contract with them. So with those, within the email that I have sent you guys, there is items of contract. For example, there are 10 items, but number 1 was to attend the class. Number 2 was to speak in class. Number 3 was to expand on your speech in class. So I get to know who you are and why you are. And number 4 was making sure that you give me solutions in terms of your approach, not actually the solution itself or the results itself, the approach of your unique, authentic self, etc., etc. So there is a criteria list of actually keeping that A. But yes, unconditionally at the beginning of the class, you get an A, because I think this is the way in life. You know, in life, as we start our lives, in my opinion, we are given everything. Okay, we're given a nice body, we're given air, water, we're given a great family, all of us, you know, and it's what we make out of that. You know, when we are supplied with all the assets, like your interests, your talents, your cultural background, when you're supplied with all these assets, what do you do with them in life? So it's exactly the system in class. So I'm giving you an A, and I want to see what you do with that A. Of course, we will have a midterm, but in the midterm, you're going to be allowed to use AI or any other tool, or you can call your mother if you want to, etc. But I'm not interested in the result. I'm interested in how you solve that question, your path, your approach. Of course, you're going to have a final presentation, but I'm interested in how will you sort of utilize that 3 minutes that you're given, and you narrate a plan of your life for the coming 5 years on the basis of things that we have classed and we have covered in class and elaborated in class. So for me, it's the experience. As you accumulate knowledge, and as you feel things towards this knowledge, how do you put forth the experience, and what kind of an experience that I am having with you? So what is my Emre experience? Okay. Now, today you said that this is the first time you attend a radio program or a podcast, whatever. I'm providing you an experience which you will not forget for a certain period of time in your life. You're attending as a senior year student to a podcast where you're allowed to ask any question to the person who's sitting in front of you. So, unconditional things in life. There's nothing unconditional in life. Yes, the societies that we have lived in throughout history, and the countries, the borders, the cultures, whatever, unfortunately made a lot of things conditional. But in life, there are things unconditional. If you have a dog, for example, the dog loves you unconditional. For example, the ocean gives you food and serenity unconditional. The wind brings you a fresh start of molecules and a fresh start of whatever season unconditional. So there are unconditional things in life. It's humans, us, which we are making things conditional. It's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. But there are things unconditional in life, and we should learn from that.
I understand that the unconditional and conditional things. My question was in human terms, yes. And also, my perspective of you in the first lesson was, I was trying to understand your perception because you invited me to here and wanted me to ask questions and talk with us. And it's strange because lots of people don't want to talk about, don't want to know about the perspective of other people's or others' opinion about themselves. But in my perspective of view, I think you believe that you want to know our perspective and opinion about yourself.
It's not just about myself, it's about everything. I am interested in your perspectives altogether, because I think I am not here to teach you guys. I'm here to learn from you guys as well, because your age group, I don't know. Your background, I don't know. The things you are reading or listening, I don't know. So your accumulation of knowledge and perspectives, I don't know. So as you ask me, actually I learn from you. For example, I am trying to learn your logic, the way you structure things in your mind. I am trying to understand why you sort of react or act towards certain things. And when I say you, it's not just you, the entire class. So when I invite you over and say, ask me questions, actually I am doing that to be able to start a conversation. So as we start the conversation, we start communicating. So all of a sudden things are taken away of being a monologue. They become a dialogue, and the dialogue can become a debate, of course, or it could be some very peaceful communication piece. It doesn't matter, but there is content exchanged. Once there's content exchanged, then there's value. So that's why I said, come and ask me questions, so I can also ask you questions. For example, why did you start studying computer engineering?
First, because my father and my mother are also computer engineering. In our home, when I was little, there were computers, there were phones. Always I grew up with computers. So first of all, that's the reason. And the second of all, I don't like with talking some people very much to communicate, because I value others' opinion, but sometimes talking with people and exchanging information are just don't make sense.
Do you think you made the right choice of studying computer engineering?
Yes, I think I made the right choice.
What makes you say that?
Because computers can do everything that I told. So I program the computer.
So you like control?
Yes, I like control.
See, look, we're having this conversation, and all of a sudden, as soon as you stop asking me questions, I start asking you questions, and I get to know you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I get to know your mind and soul and the way you... So, for example, now I know information about your family. I know information about how you perceive life. I know information about what you want to how you want to live your life. I know that you like controlling things, etc. So that gives me a lot of information of actually to start something with you in class and build upon it, okay? So for me, this is very, very valuable. It's more valuable than any book, because you, as the person you are, is actually a book of authenticity for me. I cannot write to ChatGPT and say, can you tell me things about Emre and whatever? Because ChatGPT won't be able to tell me things about you. But you can tell me things about you, your perspectives, whatever, and that brings enrichment actually to my knowledge of your age group, of you specifically, and whatever you want to do in life, etc. So I'm interested, for example, can a computer engineering student have a philosophy or philosophical mindset about something? So do you have a philosophy of life?
I need an example, like how, what?
A philosophy of life is, for example, every other philosopher that you read, they have books about how they regard life should flow. For example, Schopenhauer says, when Schopenhauer talks about love, he says love is actually in a systematic way there. The woman is actually incubates, therefore, because she is going to give birth and make sure that her fertility will end up in a secure format where she will have kids, etc. But the male is there to enrich and expand his race, so he selects the perfect, suitable woman for him. To have better generations, nicer generations, more active generations, to survive through the survival of the fittest. So the woman incubates, the man seeds. So it's very difficult actually for this mutual love to be based on non-biological items, he says. Okay? Mm-hmm. So this is a philosophy. Do you have a philosophy of life, the way you proceed and perceive and act in life?
In my life, I like to know everyone's experience, because I don't have enough life. I don't have not long enough life to experience all the things. So I need to learn from other people's experience. When I have a trouble in life, anything's not so special, I ask everyone to we communicate, talk with me, I know the other's perspective, because it's hard for me to do everything just right.
You're a positive or a negative person?
I was a positive person.
Mm-hmm.
in my life, wherever negative things happen, I always said that no matter what, I'll be positive. But for the last year, I think I cannot be positive.
Why? What was the change?
Is it okay to? Is not okay. I don't know, but the tell in the studio.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it. If it's not okay, they'll cut it. They'll cut it.
Okay. I lost my father 2 months ago, and it's
my condolences.
Thanks. And it's hard for me to understand. I have a lot of questions, but the questions are meaningless because there's no answer. But I have to live with it. But it's not going like that because I need to find a meaning. I need to find the answer. But there's no answer.
This is very valuable information. If you allow us, we will of course share this. If you don't allow us, we won't share this. But it's suitable. You know, it's interesting. I lost my father in 2016. My father was 77 years old. And the day he died, I remembered a sentence Jan Boynar told me many years ago. He said, you know what? A boy becomes a man when he loses his father.
I agree.
And this is true from many angles because the father represents security and male energy. The father represents prosperity. The father represents actually one of the main pillars of our life, the way we perceive life. And it didn't matter whether I was 18, 20, or at that time, 46 or 47, whatever. It didn't matter. I still lost my father. Yes, then you start looking for a meaning. Yes, then you start looking for actually whether it was all worth it or whether it's going to be all worth it. Yes, you start looking for actually how you're going to go through without that energy that you had your entire life. And then a process starts. A process of actually not just accepting the fact that, you lose your beloved one, but a process starts with actually feeling something here. You feel actually the pain, but the pain teaches you. The pain teaches you so that you start evolving into the person that actually you are going to become to contribute into this world. And going through that pain is a very difficult experience. But it takes you towards a different path of your authentic self, finding so many answers to so many unknowns that you never thought about. So, my condolences. It's something very difficult. I am sure you're going to learn a lot of things about yourself through going through this pain. But at the same time, your father will be there with you until eternity. Because from experience, mine is. He's not physically there, but I feel him. Sometimes I make a gesture or sometimes I make a sound and I go, oh my God. It's like as if he's speaking. Because being physically, biologically being here is one thing, but the spiritual element of our existence, the Unitarian element of our existence, our coexistence with the entire soul family is amazing. And this pain will show you the path to feel his wisdom in you. And you will contribute to the society, adding to that wisdom your own wisdom as well. Thank you very much. See, asking questions, and all of a sudden we start talking about something much greater in meaning that not just you and I have shared in life, but the entire generations of humanity have shared and will be sharing in the future. Because one day, my son will be sitting across somebody as such when I die, and he will be saying the same thing. Well, after that, I don't think I have any other questions, but for you. But if you have more questions to me, I'm ready to answer.
I have a lot of questions.
Ask me.
Talk. The pain, learning with pain, is the best way, I think, to learn, because people learn with pain much effective.
Yes.
But it's so hard to understand with this. It's not ideal, but it's the best way to learn.
I agree with you. Because pain creates a shock wave, which sort of puts us as if we are in cold water. There's a shock. The entire body goes through a shock wave, and all of a sudden certain things open up. Sometimes when we face pain, we close up, or we want to run away, or we freeze. But once we are over that, we start feeling the pain, and we start understanding the pain. And then that pain makes us actually understand the things that it needs to teach us. And then once you have whatever wisdom you're going to accumulate, it leaves you. And then it leaves instead not just the pain, but a nice feeling. So whenever I think about the people that I have lost, here there's a drizzle. It's not just pain. It's not pain anymore. It's a drizzle. And that drizzle is a huge feeling. It's like eternal love, eternal unity. So I believe, yes, pain is an effective teacher. I agree with you. If it was not, it would have been better. Yeah, maybe. But we will never be the same after we feel the pain. You're right. I agree with you.
I also think that first, I don't believe in hell or heaven. I think that these are just humans' perspective of the living in a happy and clear mind. What do you think about believing in God or whatever?
I find myself thinking about this many times. When I read the biblical stories of big religions or monotheistic religions, or I also come across certain texts of other teachings, of belief systems, talking about similar metaphors. We can never say something for sure because we don't know. There's a capacity of knowledge today, and we don't know if we go back to the past because we were not in the past. We don't know whether it's going to be like that in the future because we don't know about the future. We only get information from certain scripts and certain historical facts. But the metaphoric expression is, I think, there for us to sort of shape up certain behavior patterns for us. Reward systems, punishment systems, making sure that we do good we don't do bad, or making sure that fear is introduced so to prevent. So I think these are more for societal order rather than the individual rewarding or pain or punishment. So the societal order is necessary for the society to keep up in a format of healthy living. And maybe in the past it was much easier to introduce these metaphorical terms to keep the society in a certain order. Maybe, yes, there might be a stage for our spirits that we're going to go through, our energy that we're going to go through a certain bottlenecks, and maybe those bottlenecks are going to be called hell, or certain fantastic expansions are going to be called heaven. I don't know. But for sure, when I look at this, when I look at these terminologies, we have to look at the very, very bottom core about it. And the core of it is, why do you need a heaven and hell? If I am in my own conscious, enlightened being, doing good, giving unconditional love, respecting, not lying, not stealing, making things in the order of how they should be in their correct form, without anybody actually coming and checking on me, then I am creating a heaven. But if I do the contrary, I am creating hell. Not just hell for myself, but hell for other people. For example, the fire at the hotel. We did that. Our system did it. You know? It all of a sudden became hell for so many families because of one person or one group of people not doing their job correctly. So, when I think about the metaphorical terms and look at that incident, it shows me that hell and heaven is not when we die, it's here. Some devil, some bad energy, some incorrect way of doing things, some greed became the hell for a lot of people. At the same time, I look at people like who have discovered things like a vaccination or whatever. That became the heaven for a lot of people. So, if you ask me what I believe in, when we, our soul, our energy goes through stages. So it comes to the bus stop of Earth. Maybe it's going to go to the bus stop of X galaxy later on. I don't know. Those would be only my way of interpreting things. But what I know for sure is we create hell and heaven in its own sense in this world for each other. So I think if we have a piece of God in us, a consciousness, an awareness in us to do good, we can create a heaven in this world. With the wealth of just 6 or 7 people, there will be prosperity in Africa. With the wealth of 6 or 7 people, there will be no war. With the wealth of 6 or 7 people, there will be unconditional love expanding and putting science and discovery ahead of everything, rather than making one country great or the other country fail, whatever. Humanity, rather than preparing their apocalypse, humanity can prepare their heaven on earth. So when you look at the biblical stories of mankind being expelled from heaven, we did that ourselves. We made earth, in certain areas, hell. We made wars. We put certain religious beliefs into ovens and tried to sort of end certain generations or certain races. Look at what Hitler did. So, but we can create heaven. If we can all come together, we can create heaven. Like John Lennon said, imagine there is no heaven or hell. Imagine we can create everything together. Because we have that power. Our soul has that power. So, to conclude about the subject, it's not whether I know for sure there's hell or heaven, but I know for sure that we can create heaven all together, all humanity, if we were to collectively use our power and intentions together for the good of everyone.
Yes, I have read something like you just said, that heaven and hell is not in the other world, it's in here.
Okay, Emre, thank you very much. That was a very intimate and very original conversation that we had in this studio. Arda would agree. It's In and Out with Professor Yalman. We had Emre, a very wise and pure soul, brave enough to share his intimacy with us. And yes, we shared our moment together for you. And at Radio TEDU, Ankara TED University Studios, this was another In and Out, and a very interesting In and Out. Thank you for your contribution.
I am thanking you for inviting me.